All right, so match day 10 of the CAF World Cup Qualifiers 2026, and most of the teams are done and dusted as far as qualification to the World Cup is concerned. Now, let's take a look at some of the groups. We start off with Group D, where games were played. Burkina Faso, they managed to get a 3-1 win, hoping that at least they can cement one of, or finish their qualifying campaign as one of the second best placed teams, at least, which will give them a ticket to that four-nation mini tournament, which could also see them advance to the intercontinental playoff, then eventually a ticket to the World Cup. So for Burkina Faso, all hope is not lost. At least that 3-1 win actually gives them that boost, which also propels them to qualify. But then for Egypt, they got a 1-0 win over Djibouti. It was a very, very good win for them regardless, because they had already qualified heading into match day 10. So that was what actually happened in Group D. Now, let's take a look at Group I, where there was so much action because the Black Stars of Ghana were in action against Comoros. And guess what? They went into match day 10 with a 3-point advantage over second place Madagascar. Now, they needed to lose to Comoros by 5 goals or more, and they also needed Madagascar to beat Mali away from home by 5 goals or more. But then, mathematically, the chances of that happening, was even lesser than lightning striking twice in the same place, because you would never expect a team like Ghana to lose by 5 goals to 0 to a team like Comoros. Not to even talk of Mali losing at home by 5 goals or more to a team like Madagascar. So it all started in Group I with Chad losing at home to Central African Republic. It was a good win for Central African Republic. It took them late in that game, but then for Chad, they ended the World Cup qualifier campaign with just 1 point after 10 games. And guess where they had that 1 point from? It was a charitable gesture from Ghana to have given Chad that 1 point. On a day where they actually outdoored, or even inaugurated their biggest stadium in N'Djamena. So Chad would finish with at least, some pride, at least knowing that they managed to get a 1-1 draw against Ghana, and that was the biggest result they ever chalked so far throughout the qualifiers. Now, one other game had so much significance on the other game, and that was the game that happened in Bamako, where Mali also played against Madagascar. Now, Madagascar went into that game hoping that the Black Stars of Ghana would lose to Comoros. Then at least they could also get a thumping win to see them even leapfrog the Ghanaians into first place, then subsequently qualify for the World Cup. But then unfortunately, Mali proved to be too strong. Unfortunately for Mali as well, there's no way they can finish as runners-up in that group, because even with a win for them, that would see them amass 18 points from 10 games, and that puts them in 3rd position, which means that Madagascar would still have to grab that available slot as one of the 4 best second-place teams. So Mali ended up winning by 4 goals to 1. It was a good win for them. Sinayoko grabbing a double in that game. But for Mali, unfortunately for them, those 2 defeats to the Black Stars of Ghana ensured that they wouldn't qualify, because they lost to Ghana at home and then also away in Accra. But then at least match day 10 came with so much goodies for them, because they ended up winning by 4 goals to 1 in that group. Now, the main game in Group I in the CAF World Cup qualifiers was that game between the Black Stars of Ghana and then also Comoros. So Ghana headed into that game knowing that, they are 99.999% assured of World Cup qualification. All they had to do was to at least grab a point from that game against Comoros. But they did more than that, because that stadium, the Accra Sports Stadium, the 40,000 capacity Accra Sports Stadium, was filled to its brim. And most Ghanaians went to the stadium not just thinking about a win or even a point that could see them qualify to the World Cup. In actual sense, they had so much on their mind, and one of the things they had in mind was vengeance. They wanted to avenge whatever agony and anguish Comoros had put them through, because a couple of years ago they met with Comoros at the AFCON in Cameroon, and they got beaten by 3 goals to 2. Then they met again in the reverse fixture in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers under Chris Hughton, and they lost again. So Ghana as a nation hasn't really enjoyed any game at all they played against Comoros. So that was what they had in mind, even though on the flip side, they also thought about partying. So that 1-0 win, courtesy Mohammed Kudus, in the early minutes in the second half, actually proved that the Black Stars of Ghana just ensured that they would leave the game with all 3 points, which will see them qualify for their 5th World Cup in the last 6 editions. The only one they failed to qualify for in the last 6 editions was that one in Russia in 2018, where France were crowned champions. But then for Comoros, yeah, it was a performance they should be proud of, you know, because they've been one of the teams that have really given Ghana a run for their money each and every time they meet, regardless of what the competition is. But for Ghana, this will be their 5th World Cup, and congratulations to Ghana, congratulations to Coach Otuado and to all the technical team members. So this is a wrap of what happened on match day 10, the Sunday games played across Africa as far as the 2026 World Cup qualifiers is concerned. My name is Joseph, but don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Our Media Sports. We're also on Facebook, we're on X, we're on TikTok, we're also on Instagram. Just subscribe, hit the bell, follow, and share the content.